Hello, so this is module 2B, where I'm going to talk mostly about syncopation. So this one goes along with the rhythm worksheet, Simple 5 Syncopations PDF. So this concept of syncopations is when you have an emphasis that occurs on the offbeat. So we know downbeats or stronger beats to be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And 4/4 time it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So a syncopation could be as simple as having the emphasis on the opposites, which is 2 and 4, kind of a jazz thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be indicated by an accent. But more particularly, what's happening in this module is we're talking about where the rhythmic divisions actually occur more on an and. So where this is probably the most common rhythmic syncopation, right? So you have the 1, and then this is and 2. The emphasis would be on this and 2 and. Ta 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 ta. That can be in 3 4 2 4. Oh, it's my fault. You can't see this. See the whole screen. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, right? Another example of a syncopation might be in the 16th notes. We talked about this a little bit in the past module where we did the 16th notes on either side, and then this one would be syncopated. I count this as 1 E and 1 E, 1 E, 1 E. And because I know that's syncopated, I know that if I kind of articulate that E a little bit more, 1 E, 1 E, that's going to come out more of as a syncopation. Because if I don't do that, it feels like da 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 da. And although that's rhythmically correct, it doesn't have any enunciations that help that syncopated feeling of that. So accents are often applied when we're talking about syncopations. So let's start off with our worksheet, and we'll go through and find these syncopations as they occur. And again, we're going to write in the bar lines and the counting in this. So the first one I gave us is, we'll make sure we get the whole screen in before I do this. The first one in 4/4 time. So let's start off with our counting. And I see a syncopation right away. And this is like something that it's very helpful if you can like key into right away. I see this grouping right here that I just talked about. That is syncopated. And I count this as 1, because that's an 8th note. And then it starts on the and. I can't say the next number because I didn't use up all of the 1 here. Only half a beat on that 8th note, right? 1 and 2, and then this would be and. All right, those and 2 fitting together on that second note. 1 and 2 and. Next number would be 3. I can't go into 4 because I didn't use up all of the 3. I need that other half of that. And 4 would be that quarter note. 2 8th notes fit inside that, right? Subdivided. And then finally, and Now, why do I say and This would be going back to the previous module. Those are the last 2 16th notes that fit inside that beat. Counting in 16th notes is always going to be 1 E and those are on the last 2 16th notes there, if that makes sense. So I'm going to say and and that's where my first bar line would be. Okay, and then I start off with the rest. It still needs a number. We're on 1. And then this is all syncopated. I can put little implied accents. I see this right away because I'm coming in on my and 2, and 3, and 4. I can't go on to a 1 here. This is part of the next and. My bar line would be here. I just discontinued the rest of that for spacing. So let's count this one. Let's count it nice and evenly. And because it's so important to have a steady beat, especially when you're doing something that's syncopated, I am going to put on a metronome. And I'm going to put it on, I'll put it on 60, but I am going to subdivide it so that I can really hear and feel where these are to the 8th note. So my subdivision pulse is going to be to the 8th note. So I'm going to count it 1 and 2 and 8th notes, quarter. So you see where those beats are? I'll put this up here so you can see it for this. Okay, we'll count this together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, does that make sense right there? So I'm actually going to say those. And then you might want to practice this with a flute and actually it's just the same note and actually ta. So my tas would be the same way. Ready, go. Ta, 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 ta. That's hard to do. It's just so many things that come in the offbeat there. Okay, but that's how to count that. It's also how to articulate that. The next one I was talking about, I think I skipped around here a little bit and I went to number 4. So take a look at number 4. We're talking about number 4. That's in 2/4 time. My bad. I should have done that. Yeah, okay. So after every 2 beats, I'm going to draw a measure. So this is the same rhythm we talked about when we very began here. It's syncopated off the very get-go here. 1, and then this would be E, Why is it E, Because the and is silent. That comes on the second 16th note. 1 E and 1 E and So there's a little accent that happens there. Go on to my next number, 2, and then the last 2 16th notes and 2 and bar line because we're in 2/4 time. I identify this immediately as a syncopated rhythm. 1 and 2 and the emphasis is on that and. 1 and 2 and bar line. It's a rest, but you still get counting here. 1 and then and 2 and. That is also syncopated because the entry point of that note is on the and. Ta, ta, ta. Okay, continuing. 1 E and. It's E because it comes after the second 16th note. The would be silent. 1 E and 2 and bar line. 1. Oh, I think there's supposed to be a dot here. Is there a dot here? Yes, there is. Okay, so dotted 8th note is 3/4 of a beat, or almost 1. So I can subdivide this. I'd still get to number 1. The last part of the 16th note would be right? 1 E and 1 E and Just the E and the and are silent. 2 and. Okay, so let's count this one. I'm going to put this on my subdivided 8th notes as well. I do this. And we'll say it with the numbers. 2 and ready, go. 1 E, 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 E and 2 and 1 2 and. Okay, let's do that one more time. 1. I'm going to do this with tas now. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Ta 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 ta. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Okay, the last little example I did, I think I skipped around again and I jumped up to number 3. Yes, number 3, which I didn't write the time signature. This one is in 4/4 time. My bad. Always need a time signature. Okay. So starting off, I'm going to start the same way. 1 and comes in the 3rd and 4th 16th note and First 2 16th notes, 2 E and. Next number's 3 and be clear here. 4 E and bar line. Now let me talk about this for a second. Now, you have 4 sets of 16th notes in a row here. So why didn't they bar them together like they did anywhere else that had 4 16th notes, especially in the previous module? The reason they didn't do this is because they want you to see where those beats are. And they will very rarely, they just won't, let me just backtrack and say that. They won't bar, some syncopations together. They'll try and make it very clear where those beats actually lie. So you won't see that, a half of 3 and a half of 4 are barred together. It's too confusing to our eye. So that's why they're going to be separated that way. Okay, let's continue on here. So quarter note rest is 1. Then this is a 16th note rest. It's not very accurately drawn or cleanly drawn, I should say. Nor is that. Jeez. But a 16th note rest, you count it the same way as 16th notes, right? So this would be my next number, 2. And then I continue with my 16th notes, E and And that's kind of syncopated because it's really hard to come in on the E. So that's 1, 2, E and right? Oh, I think those are together. Let me make sure that I drew that correctly. Number 3. Yeah. Okay. And then continuing on, this is 3, E, and. So this is really bad. Normally they would put the 4th beat here, but I ran out of space. So my next beat here is 4. Okay, 16th note, it's still a number. 4, and then a 16th note rest. This is the next 16th note division, E, and then I come in with and a. So 4 and a, 4 and a, 4 E and a. Big bar line is here. Continuing, 1 and 2. Another syncopated thing. Hopefully you're beginning to see these, where these syncopations occur, because if you can grab onto them sooner, you're going to have more rhythmic accuracy. This is the 3 E, remember the and is silent. 3 E and 3 E, Going on to 4. E is the next 16th note, and okay, bar line I didn't complete because I just ran out of space. You're going to finish the rest of this up. Okay, so let's put my metronome on. I'm going to put it on that 8th note division again. 1 and 2 and this is at 60, a second a beat. And let's count this together. Ready, go. 1 and a 2 E and 3 and a 4 E and 1, 2. Oops, sorry, let me start from here. I should have said and so we can really make sure we're getting the subdivision. 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 and 2. 3 E, 4 E and. Okay, let's do it again, especially since I stopped that in the middle. Let's try. 1 and go. 1 and a 2 E and 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and 4. 1 and 2. 3 and a 4. 3 E, 4 E and. A lot of syllables to say there. So finish this up yourself, and I challenge you to make sure you're playing it with a metronome. It's actually more challenging to play notes that are actually without any changing, no scale, no inflection, because you don't have a melody in your ear. It has to be completely 100% numbers. It becomes very mathematical. And most of the musicians I work with, you guys are very musical. And so to go to just the mathematical component of it challenges a different part of our brain. So we have to really be very, very, very exact in our counting. I will say this is module 2B, but I think this is actually the toughest module because syncopation is definitely one of the harder components, and one that of all levels and in myself when I'm sight reading, that will be the component that I will get have more rhythmic errors. So be gentle on yourself as you go through this one. See if you can understand it. Write notes. I would love for you to screenshot me the rest of your counting so we can make sure that we're on the right page of this. And then we might do another module on this one with another example to really kind of to make sure we understand syncopations completely and fully.